Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Okay, so today's going to be a real quick one. These are about knife holding sticks. I know, a pretty catchy name, right? Okay, so I just finished up a pair of bushcraft knives that were in black walnut. So it being a bushcraft knife and not like a kitchen knife, and especially being in walnut that was not stabilized, I used True Oil gunstock finish to put a finish to protect those handles. True Oil's a great oil finish for, in my mind, non-kitchen type use knives. Pretty much if it's in the kitchen, it's going to be washed all the time, it's going to be handled all the time. You're going to pick up that knife, you're going to set it down, you're going to pick up food, you know. So on a kitchen knife, I like using a food grade finish, which is usually mineral oil. A bushcraft type knife, you know, that's more of an outdoors type use knife, and so I use the True Oil on that. Anyways, one of the things about True Oil is that, or tung oil, or any of your other oils, like, or even, you know, other finishes that need, you know, drying time in between applications. So you take the knife, you put your finish on there, right? You let it sit, and then, you know, once it starts getting tacky, add a little bit more to resolve that tackiness, and then wipe it down, buff it up a little bit, and then you need to set it somewhere out of the way so it can dry. And you might be doing 2, 3, 4, 10 knives at a time. You know, that's an awful lot of knives to have to hold, you know, up off the bench so that the whole, you know, handle can cure. All right, so there's two ways that I like to do this. One of them I'm going to show you today, and that's these 2x2 sticks, right? So I take just a chunk of 2x2. You know, the length doesn't really matter all that much as long as you make a cut in the end of it, you know, straight down. Just rip it on a table saw or, you know, with a hand saw, whatever, and make it long enough to where it'll fit the blade that you're working on. Okay, so this one right here, well, the cut goes to the end of here, so obviously there's plenty of room there. But like on a butcher type knife, you know, that would be plenty there also. You know, or if you're working on a chef's knife, so it's a little bit longer, you know, or a chopper, or, you know, pretty much anything that you're working on. I mean, you just make that cut there to correspond with the blade length. The width doesn't really matter all that much. Let's see. Here, so this is one that's obviously wider than that, but it doesn't really matter because, well, I guess it's about the right. You're going to clamp it right here, and you're going to work on the handle end, not on the blade end. All right, so just a quick show you how to use it. So I make these little paper sheaths to protect the finish. Now, this is my everyday carry knife, so the finish is, you know, well patinaed, so I don't really care about the finish, but it does, you know, give the blade a little bit more thickness, because as wide as you cut these, you should make the cut to match the blade stock that you're working with, or, you know, a little bit oversized. So I think this cut I made by hand because it's kind of all messed up. If your cut is too small, you can always very carefully run it on a belt sander. You know, run the belt sander in between. Just be real careful with that. If you're kind of off on a little bit, it'll grab the belt will grab the stick and slam it into the bottom wheel. You know, so maybe just get a wider saw blade, or see if you can get a file in there or something or other. But anyway, or just wrap it up with some tape. So we just, okay, I'm not used to holding it right up like this. All right. So you just stick it in place like that, to where a little bit of the, you know, the handle's not butted right up against the bottom of the block there. Take yourself a regular old clamp. Then I like to pull the clamp down out of the way. And now that blade is held really nice and secure. Okay? So now what we can do is we can clamp it up in the bench vise, and I'll show you that in a second. You can clamp it up to a table. I like to put a little hook on the end of these. That way, like if I'm doing an oil finish, you know, because you can also use this to, well, here, I'll show you. Okay, so here we are at the bench vise. Now, a lot of bench vices don't have the, well, let's see. Most of them will spin this way, right? Not all of them will the head spin this way, which this one will. So with this block shape right here, you can turn it down, you can turn it up or level, you can turn it up to work on the, you know, the very butt of the handle. And of course, it being square, you know, you can rotate it around considerably. If you find out that one C-clamp doesn't have enough holding power, if you're, you know, having to work at an angle like this way, that it's tending to loosen it up, you can always add another C-clamp there, right? Okay, so most of the time, I don't use this particular fixture for, you know, working on handles. Typically, I'll use this one right here. It's got way more holding power and it's round, and I can use it in the this portion here. So if I want to do it at that angle, or at that angle, or at that angle, maybe I'll do another video on this one pretty soon. But what I usually use this one for is doing those oil finishes. Okay, so I'll chuck the knife up like this, go ahead, you know, do my oil finish on here. Then when I'm done with it, now I just loosen the thing up, hang it from the little hangy bobber up there, and bam, it's up and out of the way, you know. And I can hang another one up there. I can hang up the other one. Well, this one's got a little hole in there. There. No, there we go. There you go. But the great thing about these is that they're just scrap wood. I mean, you know, I might have, I don't know, 5 minutes into making the thing, you know, and what's that? I mean, even at today's lumber prices, that's only, you know, maybe $1 worth of 2x2. Okay. Now, another great thing about these is, let's say you're working, let's see, no, this bench doesn't really have much of a lip under here, but this one does. Okay. So you can go, I mean, if you don't have a bench vise, you can just lay it on a kitchen table or a picnic table, something like that, that's got a lip up underneath here, and then either screw it to the, well, I mean, I wouldn't recommend screwing this to your kitchen table, but, you know, to a regular workbench, or clamping it right here, and it'll hold it just the same. So anyhow, so, so anyway, yeah, that right there is probably one of my favorite oiling handle fixtures in the shop. And like I said, it doesn't cost but maybe $1 or $2 worth of wood. I don't know how much these little, you know, little screw-in brass hooks cost, but they're sure handy for that. And then the paper sheath, and then, you know, do your oil finish, and away you go. Okay, so again, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.